all of that matters. And then like if I'm listing my house, I want to know, what are you doing to earn your commission? Because commission needs to be earned.
Welcome to the Re-Strategy Podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Graff, alongside my co-hosts, Shannon Hall and Mark Jarbo. Join us as we lift the veil on the real estate industry and give you the tools to become a more savvy home buyer, seller, agent, and lender. Stay tuned because we're about to lay it all out on the table. Welcome back, episode 2. Excited to be here. We didn't really leave, but hey, we just started over.
But we've started recording. So,
yes.
This is great.
Yeah, I probably
love
should
it.
bring a different shirt, at least change my shirt for episode 2.
Next time. So this episode is all about why who you work with matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who you work with does matter. Very much matters.
Yeah, and
Very
I
important
think
topic.
we're just going to let Shannon kick this one off because
Yeah.
this is an agent-focused topic, and you have a lot to say about this.
I do. So who you work with matters is a matter of making the deal or breaking the deal. And when I say deal, I mean your transaction. So it's really important that you have an agent that has a great reputation. Agents that don't have great reputations in this industry are very much behind the 8 ball when it comes to getting offers accepted or listing your home. And I know it shouldn't be that way, but you're dealing with human beings. So it's going to be that way. So in the state of Michigan, it's 40 hours of education, formal education, and a C- to get your real estate license. And then everything else that you learn from your broker. And a lot of brokers do not train. Now they say they train and they have trainings, but since we're all independent contractors, it's very tough to make people want to be trained, to get training, to have fresh new trainings. Training schedules, they're tough to write, they're tough to create, they're tough to get people in the same room all at once. If you leave the training up to a broker, say somebody is watching recorded trainings, and they say, yeah, I let it play in the background while I was playing PlayStation over here, like nothing's sinking in. So you really have to have your agents in front of you, and you have to be always training, always coming back, always reiterating, because some things stick and some things don't. You need to have somebody that has experience or has a team of experience behind them. And if the agent that you're using doesn't have a lot of experience, like I'll go on listing appointments, or my agents will, or work with buyers, and they'll say, oh, I'm working with so-and-so. Okay, well, who's negotiating your contract? Who's writing your contract? Who's being creative on behalf of your contract? Who's creating solutions for any issues that come up? And when you ask somebody that, they're like, oh, I don't know. Well, a lot of brokers are inaccessible, team leaders are inaccessible, and you're kind of just left with like maybe an office manager, or I've even seen transaction coordinators get involved.
Or Google.
Or, yeah, worse, Google. And not that everything on Google isn't true. It's just that every state has different laws. So
Right.
if you have a client reading something in Google, it may not apply to their state. And also laws change and guidelines change and rules
Scenarios.
change. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you really need to have somebody that has experience, that understands, is creative. One thing at my brand is that I'm extremely creative when it comes to training. I train on things that no other brokers train on, and I know they don't because I also train for other brokers. Having a well-rounded, well-educated agent is great, but the year's license doesn't really matter. I've known agents that had their license for 25 years, and they still don't know anything.
Man.
The number of transactions is what matters.
It's unbelievable.
It is really unbelievable. I know agents that have been in the business 25 years that don't even have a book of business. Like, this is our career. This is not a job. This is what we are supposed to be experts in. And when you don't even treat your business like a business, it's amazing to me. But a lot of agents, they get a license because they think what we do is easy. Oh, you just open doors. Oh, you just put the house on the MLS. There's so much more to that. And there's so many things that can go wrong in a transaction. And you really have to have somebody that understands the law, understands code of ethics. So in Michigan, we have realtors, which are people with salesperson's licenses that belong to NAR. They belong to a local board, a state board, and our national
Association of Realtors.
Yeah, our national board. Those people abide by the Code of Ethics. Then Michigan has what's called the Michigan Real Estate Salesperson. And these are your people that don't belong to a board, don't belong likely to an MLS, or if they do, the MLS doesn't require them to have a board. So when you come across those agents, those are agents that are playing in a different field than those of us who are realtors, because the realtor is bound by the Code of Ethics. Your state real estate salesperson is not. So that's where things can get very gray and very shady. So our state allows the practice of dual agency. I absolutely disagree with dual agency. I've seen sellers lose tens of thousands of dollars by agents who practice this. It's 100% not ethical. I don't care what the state says.
It is crazy to me that anyone would allow it, but I assume that sellers don't really understand what they're getting into. But for me, I liken it to, oh, I'm filing a lawsuit against you, but I'm going to use the same lawyer that you're using.
Right. Like, you're not going to let the plaintiff's attorney be your defense attorney if you're on the defense. And
That's
it's really,
insane.
yeah, it's kind of what they're doing. So people are like, well, I'm just going to call the listing agent. I'll get a better deal.
No,
the
you
listing
won't.
agent has a contract with that seller, and they're beholden to that seller. Their fiduciary duty is to that seller. And if sellers understood what the limitations are when your agent switches to dual or starts out as dual, your fiduciary duty, all the things that are aligned to protect you, those things go out the window. And agents will say, well, you could save 1% or 2% on commission. Okay, so you have a $400,000 house. You're going to say $4,000, $8,000? Well, if you have somebody that's solely working for you, you should be able to make that much and more to cover that cost. And there's ways to do that. But because sellers get so wrapped up in what they're paying their agent, and I don't think they really understand what to expect from their agent for the money they're paying. It's good money. And I'm not saying it's not negotiable, but what I am saying is that an agent that allows themselves to be negotiated out of commissions when you are bringing just the whole arsenal of services, something has to give, because financially it doesn't make sense. I see listing agents like, I'll list your house for 1%. Okay, but what are you getting for that 1%? Are they going to practice dual agency? Because they're going to try to pick up that other 3% or 2.5% or 2% that you're offering a buyer agent. They're likely not going to use a photographer. They're not going to prep your home to sell. They're definitely not going to stage. They're not going to deep clean. They're not going to make sure the windows are clean, the carpet's clean, the paint colors will look nice. I mean, all the things that we do, it's basically transactional. And if you're a seller that's just looking for that, then you're better off selling it on your own because you don't even need an agent at that point. It's just transactional.
Do you think that the proper training in the beginning life stages of a realtor is going to make a difference
Absolutely.
in the reputation and the duration of that individual's time in that career?
Yes, absolutely. So we always say at Dwellings that everything matters, and it does. So everything matters in a transaction. It matters how your house ends up on the MLS, how it's presented the first time out is like critical. Literally everything matters, from how the photos are displayed, the language that's used, the disclosures being completed. I mean, it's just so many things. And we're going to talk about that in further episodes. But also, if you have a really well-educated agent on the other side, that agent is going to understand, like, very simply, who that other agent is on the other side, how they can be manipulated, how they can be negotiated against.
Well, we're going to talk about that kind of stuff in other
we are
episodes.
going to talk about that. Yes.
That's the kicker for me.
It is. But also, when you have the education, and you have the education the right way, right out of the gate, it makes it so much easier for you to understand when someone else is doing something that's unethical, or is giving way too much pushback, or presenting it in some sort of way that doesn't kind of feel right. As a broker, my only job is to make sure that my agents are fully educated and have the best education in town. And we do. Like, I know as a fact that when my agents come to the table with an offer, that other agents, they know They're going to hold up their end of their deal. They're going to see it all the way to the closing table.
They're going to answer their phones.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't tell me about that one.
Yeah,
This
I know.
shit is like ridiculous.
It is. I mean, the amount of people that don't pick up their phone is really incredible to me. You really have to understand as a buyer or a seller who it is that you're working with. And I tell buyers and sellers, if you really want to do due diligence on your agent, go to their social media. Are they working a full-time job? Are they practicing full-time? When you are in a transaction, you want to be able to reach your agent. And if you
100%.
can't reach your agent until they get off work at 5 o'clock or they're working weekends and nights when you're out looking for houses, I mean, this is what we do as a nights and weekends job. And then our days are spent prospecting and administering files and whatever it is that we're doing. So you really have to understand how this person works, how they communicate, how do you want to be communicated with.
So many crucial moments in a transaction.
And there are, and it's like, well, if you think about how people get referred to agents, like, okay, well, my friend referred this person, so they must be good. But what was your friend's circumstance? Every circumstance and how a house comes to the market,
Different.
yeah, it is different. And you have to make sure that you have the right agent for the circumstance that you're in. And what is their level of understanding? At the end of the day, I think that using an agent to sell your home can be a win-win for consumers as long as everybody's on the same page. Sellers have to really understand what their end goals are and then hire an agent for that end goal, because every single thing matters in a transaction. If you hire the wrong lender, they can't close your file and you got to go back. Extensions they're not a given.
They're not cheap either.
Well, that's true. They're not cheap,
How,
but they aren't a given.
if you can leave some tips on the table, how can prospective buyers and sellers go about finding the right agent? What would you suggest to them to make sure that they're picking the agent that has solid broker training?
So it's a great question. So the first thing I would say is I want the name and phone number and email address of the last 3 homes that you listed or the last 3 buyers that you serviced. Everything is public record. So it's very easy to find those transactions.
Basically, you're saying give out a resume.
Well, yes, give out a resume. And then I would do a lot of social media
Research.
Yeah. I would definitely be looking for their Twitter account, looking for their or X account, I guess now, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. How do they present on there? All of that matters. And then, like, if I'm listing my house, I want to know, what are you doing to earn your commission? Because commission needs to be earned. It shouldn't just be something that someone says, oh, well, this is my commission, you're going to pay it. There's all sorts of agents that will work for different commission amounts.
Right.
It's absolutely negotiable and always has been negotiable. But I'm not going to list somebody's house and pay for their full staging, pay for their deep cleaning, pay for their window cleaning inside and out, manage the project of the painters and carpet if it needs it, carpet cleaners and all these other things, plus market their house and advertise like on Google and Facebook and boost their ads and have printed material and hold open houses that first weekend. I'm not doing all of that without a substantial amount of money back for that service.
100%.
Because in addition, they're getting my negotiation skills and all of my years of practice and everything that I learn and know.
Well, and we haven't mentioned it. It is in your bio online, but you are the creator of the Maximum Home Value Assessment.
Yes.
Which,
It's trademarked.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that you go about it, you get 7% on average above every house that ever sold in the area.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you do all of that.
Yeah. We do that to get the consumer the most money.
Right.
She's not saying my commission's 7%. She's saying that we get 7% or more on average
On the price of the house.
if you were to compare apples to apples.
Yes.
But also, you know, I've had agents call me and they say, oh, well, how do you even get somebody to pick up their dirty clothes or to make their beds or clear their clutter? They don't have a choice. Like, I'm putting the best product on the market that I can because I know the best product on the market is going to land them the most money. That's my job.
That's the most crucial point in everything you said. Putting out the best product. Because at the end game, the training and all the stuff you're talking about is the end product.
It is. And it all matters. Like,
Yes.
every single thing matters. And I don't think that people really think this through. Would you pay an extra 1% commission for an agent who brings all of the service and get you a phenomenal price. I mean, who's going to say no to that?
So when an agent is presenting to a buyer or seller and saying like, well, let's say seller, because we're kind of more seller focused in this scenario, but what should the seller be looking for to know that that's the service that they're going to receive? Is it like a game plan?
It is a game plan. It's a marketing plan. So when we go to an appointment, we do not give the price of the house while we're there. We're there on a excursion, I guess you could say. So we're asking all the questions. We're taking pictures with our phones. We don't use them online, but they allow us to take in the full essence of the home. So if I walk into someone's home and it smells like smoke, I'm immediately going to say, stop smoking in your home. If it smells like dogs, I'm going to let them know that because I'm walking in as a fresh nose and fresh eyes. However I feel is how everybody's going to feel. I don't lie to my clients. They are trusting me to tell the truth. I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I also really don't want to hurt their sale.
Yeah.
So I come with
hurt my feelings for more money.
Yeah, please.
But there's solutions for all that stuff, and it's very easily resolved. But if they hire me, I'm going to resolve that. And the product I'm going to put on the market is going to be the absolute best product on the street. I mean, it's just going to be that way. So if people are looking for an agent,
the seller's going to make the most amount of money.
Yeah. Agents need to start telling the truth. My sellers don't price the home. I price where it's going to appraise. That's it. I don't overprice. I don't underprice. I'm going to price where it's going to appraise. Our stats, like when a seller asks for stats, those can be easily manipulated. So if you're comparing what I hand to you, these are the houses that I sold this in 2023. Here's all the houses I sold. It better match up to Zillow.
Fair.
It better match up to Realtor.com when you search under my name. Because what am I leaving out?
Are there any questions that you recommend sellers or buyers ask their potential agents before hiring them?
Yeah, I would. Well, and again, it's based on what they need. So, I mean, if it were me and I were interviewing an agent, I would ask them, do you do this full time? Do you belong to the local MLS? How are you going to bring my house to the market? What steps are you going to take to market my home? Like, are you really spending any money? See, we're invested in our listings. I have all sorts of money on the street. I have probably close to a 1% commission on the street before I even list that house.
Wow.
So if I don't sell it,
That's crazy.
and if I don't sell it where I say it's going to sell, I mean, I'm taking a hit. I am. Especially being the broker. Like,
you want to make sure they have some skin in the game.
Absolutely.
100%.
So our agents have skin in the game, and every agent should have skin in the game. You want to see they're invested. So if an agent says, well, there's staging included. So tell me about the staging. Is it a staging consultation? Is it staging with what I have? Is it a full stage? Is the stager going to bring pieces in? How's that going to work? Agents need to be able to answer those questions because every house should be staged. And we're going to talk more about that. And I can hear people right now saying, "Oh, it doesn't need to be staged." There's
a reason why
it's not interior design, and there's reasons for it. And we're going to talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, and there's reasons why you get 7% more
Yes.
than the values of other houses.
Yes,
Right.
And I know that we need to wrap up this episode here, but after listening to hours and hours and years of you train, one question I think that sellers should ask is, do you allow escalation clauses?
Oh, yeah. So in our industry, there's escalation clauses and appraisal guarantees, and we are so going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that.
Stay tuned.
Big time.
That's a big one.
Oh, yeah. But I hear a lot of listing agents say, oh, my seller's not interested in that. So what I'm hearing you say, listing agent, is that your seller isn't interested in making the most money as a buyer agent. That's what I'm thinking. So I'll ask them, so your seller doesn't want to make the most money? Well, of course they do.
That's because they don't know how to do it anyways.
Oh, it's they don't understand it. They don't want to understand it. So I created an addendum that actually explains escalation and appraisal guarantees in layman's terms so people can understand it. So a seller or a listing agent can understand it. And I don't want the listing agent to be embarrassed if they don't understand it.
Yeah.
But also help them understand like what it all means and how it affects the contract that they have sitting in front of them that I've written for my buyer. And
Look at you, even great training through contracts.
Right, I swear.
yeah, I mean, really, honest to God, every single thing in a contract matters. I just can't tell you if there's anything you take away from this episode, I promise you that every single thing matters. And we are going to talk about literally all of those things
There's
because
so many
it
things.
is,
I can't wait.
yeah. I'm excited about it because I finally feel like I'm in a forum where I can discuss it. And it's not just with my agents. I really want consumers to know that they should expect the absolute Mercedes of service for that 6%. And it isn't cell phone pictures and it isn't just a sign in the ground.
I love
You
that.
should be getting so much more for that 6%.
Well, stay tuned because we have so much more. So
We do.
next episode coming up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the Re-Strategy Pod. You're the reason we make this podcast, and we'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to be featured and have a real estate story to share, good, bad, or horrific, go to restrategypod.com and share your story with us. Until next time.